Let's put this away. Look, Jim is early. How you doing, Jim? Do 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 do. Wait a few minutes. I will start getting ready here. Wait a few minutes for people to come in. Red goes there. Ugh. Accidentally pulled a cable out of a connector. That sucks. Hey, Aaron. Gunner, what's up, dude? Oh. Okay. Trying to get that out now. Gotta do another JST connector. Woohoo! Said nobody ever. This cable is like stupid long. I don't know if I should see if I have another one. That's a 3-pin to 3-pin. It's just so long. It don't need to be that long. So this is going to the Z min, right? It's gonna go right there. Let's just cut it like here. It's plenty long. Madwell from the UK, what is up? Ryan's here, George is here. All right, we're gonna go ahead and start talking because it's gonna take a minute to get through what I need to do right now, and then we can continue. So today is part 3 of the Ultra Magnus build. And I would lie if I said I wasn't anxious and have been working on this nearly every single day since I last saw you guys on Monday night for Monday stream. But I literally have been working on this every single evening, slowly but surely getting there. So I had to reprint a few parts. I had to work with Aaron on a few things. I also went ahead and did a bunch of the cable management. I did the whole Y bed. So actually, we're going to still need to do the Y belt. And when I go to do that, I'll flip this over, give you guys a nice close-up so you can see the way that I ended up doing the bed cables, how I did the kind of nifty-ish. I mean, I'm not the first person to do it, but I like it. How I did the cable chain for the bed. What else we have to do? We have to do the belt, the tensioner, and I'll show you how I managed all the cables. I printed out a bunch of these zip tie 2020 inserts. These are all from the Bear full upgrade STL kit of files. So there are some horizontal and vertical zip ties, and there's also a bunch of LCD mounts. I already have the LCD mounted, but we have to take it off and put in different arms because the ones I printed were wrong. And I'll show you guys how the front looks if you're not on the Discord. That way you can see how the red printed extrusion looks. It looks magnifique. And there's a bunch of red, white, and blue. I went ahead and put some end caps on here. So lots to show you guys on that. But I do just want to finish redoing this cable for the Easy ABL because I accidentally ripped out the wire, which means I need to redo the pins, which is good anyways because, again, it was far too long, and I really didn't want that cable to be super long. There's only so much space in here to... there's only so much space in here. What are you doing? There's something in that fan. There's only so much space down in here to put all these cables. So the less I have, the better, to be honest. I have a way to make some of these shorter, great. This is going to be a super duper clean build that I'm going to be very, very happy with. The nice thing about the 2020 extrusion is that you have plenty of space. I guess it's not just the extrusion, but it's also this so big. Is there's plenty of space to put the cables. This wire stripper, Jim, I mean, thanks for the $5, but I like this one. I've had this one for a long time. It's got the cutter on the bottom. It's got adjustable from nothing up to a full inch if I want to. I like this one. This is good. And it was cheap on Amazon many, many years ago when I bought it. I mean, usually my own personal tool snob is Aaron. Because he is the king of tools. I think somebody asked him about like a pair of pliers or strippers or something like that, and he pulled out like 12. Pretty funny to watch. Okay, so red goes in here. Click. And then take out this whole black wire. Goes in there. Click. And there we have our two new cables that now go into the Easy ABL. So we can put this back together. So yeah, no, I was a bit impatient when I was moving things around earlier, and I did not properly secure this when I was moving it, and I ripped cables out of it. But there we go. So, and I'm only keeping the case just to keep the electronics isolated from the metal frame. Don't want any shockies to happen there. Jim, I will always take the excuse, my friend. I appreciate it. Okay, so where should we start? I guess let's start with the Y belt. So let me try and clean up this a little bit so it's not so insane. This is for the front there. Some stuff to the side. We need these in a minute. Okay, so I'm going to take off these parts so I don't snap them off. But I did fit the reverse Bowden tube mount and the spool holder because I wanted to see how it all would look on there. It looks great. There we go. All right. Take those off. Why are you not using the external MOSFET for the bed? Ryan, because it doesn't need an external MOSFET. It's 24 volt. It doesn't really pull that much power because it's 24 volt. 12 volt on a bed like this, but there's no reason to. If I ever have issues with the SKR, then maybe I will, but for right now, it's not really necessary. That won't hold on there. Right, so now we're going to tip this up. Some things are going to come with it. That's fine. Okay. Tape came undone when I was moving things here. Okay, let me switch cameras here. Let's go to here and here. Okay, so you guys can see all what's going on. Get all these cables out of the way. Those Easy ABL cables out of the way. Okay, so this is the bottom and how it looks. I wish I could make this a little more bright, which I can if I just do that. Whoops. Hang on a second. Okay. So as you can see, we have these bearing mounts holding the IGES bearings, which slide oh so nice back and forth. Now, it took me a little bit of time to get these really, really perfectly in line with each other. I don't know why it did, but probably because this plate is not tapped, so I had to add bolts on the top in order to make that work. But now it slides all the way to the front and all the way to the back without hitting anything. That's kind of the key point here, is not to hit anything. It does not hit the motor mount. It gets like right up to it almost. Like it's really, really close, but does not quite hit it, which is good. And then when I go to the front and the belt is held down, this just misses the front. Also, the knob here just misses the top of the LCD. So everything is extremely close. So the one thing that happened is whenever I was doing the initial desoldering of the bed, you can see here, so the cables were on a connector that came out the back here and had to kind of loop around and then go up into the electronics cabinet. Didn't like that at all. So I was trying to think of another way, and then I think Aaron and Brandon were said, well, why don't you do a reverse setup? So I desoldered all these cables, flipped them around. Now they're going here to the front and then back around. What this does is this keeps the cable chain completely underneath the bed and not out the back of the printer. So you're reducing the depth of this printer by literally almost a foot because of that cable coming out the back. And if you had a cable chain on there, it would also have a huge amount of space coming all the way out the back and then back in. So definitely saving a ton of space by doing it this way, because it only goes back this far, which is what, maybe about 4 inches off the back here of where the bed goes, and off the front obviously doesn't really matter, but it goes about the same amount of space off the front there, you can see. And I mean, it doesn't even go past the LCD really on the front, which is great. So this is working out pretty good. I went ahead and also when I was doing this desoldering, I accidentally ripped off one of the thermistor pads like an idiot. So I had to go ahead and throw my own thermistor in here, which you can see the white wire right here. This is a new thermistor that I put in. It's a standalone thermistor. So I went ahead, did that, threw it into the loom with all the cabling, and then go through there. I am going to throw, I think, just over these terminals, just some hot glue. I just want to insulate them from anything touching, because these are bare open terminals. And there's no real way to get any type of 3D printed cover over it, which would be nice. And I think, I mean, hot glue is non-conductive, right? So there shouldn't be any issue with me kind of insulating that a little bit so that it just works better. The only other thing that I was thinking about was trying to actually insulate the bed itself. And I have an option. I don't know how good it'll be, but I have an option that somebody told me about many, many moons ago. And that is this water pipe insulation tape. So it's not terribly thick, but it is single-sided adhesive, and it's neoprene. So it's basically the same stuff as you would buy that's covered. And then I have a whole roll of silver tape that I could cover over it to kind of give like a backing. So I'm not sure if I'm going to end up trying to use this or not, but this would fit just barely between where the bolts come up and the bed itself. So again, I'm not 100% sure if I want to go and try and do that, but it is an option, I guess. So it would just take a couple, obviously, lines of this to go around it and fully insulate it. Or you could buy for like 10 bucks on AliExpress a full 300 by 300 pad that has aluminum on it already. I had one on the original BLV bed, but I obviously nicked that bed. So again, you could do kind of either one of those to make it work. Won't that wear the wires out faster? What do you mean, Ryan? So this is 14 gauge silicone wiring. They shouldn't really wear out at all, to be honest. I do want to replace these bolts though, while I wait for Ryan to respond. That's the wrong one. M4s? Yeah, just M4s. Find something a little bit shorter. If I use high temp stuff, it really shouldn't. I could just put a bunch of Kapton tape over it, which is another option. I don't really know. Oh, I did just get some of that, didn't I? Oh, where's it at? I did. What your stuff you're talking about? Where is it? It's right here. Oh, I did just get this gasket. Yeah, this stuff right here. I did just get this in because someone said to use this on the that fuse, that thermal fuse that I'm going to put on the BLV bed. I bought this for that. So I guess I could use that to just cover up those connections. Just want to make sure they don't come loose. They shouldn't. I mean, they're soldered in there, but again, being in this orientation, these wires never ever take any force at all because it's all down in here. There we go. Those are in now. Well, before Ryan, these were on the flimsy connector, and that connector had no way to be secured at all. So that was just having the wires flopping back here, back and forth. They had more movement back here than they do now. And they're also inside. So inside of here, they're also inside this. I don't know if I can show it to you. So if you look in there, they're also inside of that F6 wire sleeving that Jim sent me, which is very, very smooth. So it actually moves very well in there. So all the wires are in that and then in here. So this plastic cable chain will not be wearing directly on the silicone wires. It will be gliding over that heavy duty wire loom, that nylon loom, and it should not cause any wear at all, or very little wear, I should say. Either way, this is better than what it was before, and yeah, that's that. And I just have a couple pieces of tape here just to make sure that stays up and there, but I kind of wouldn't mind something else to try and hold these down eventually. But we'll see how it all goes out when we do some testing initially, because obviously this has only really been tested by one person, and that is what's his face? Brandon. Yeah, Jim, I am using your wrap on several different parts in here. On the bed cable, I'm using it on the X motor, and I'm using it on the extruder cables. Oh yeah. This is the stock cable. It is just long enough, I think. It actually end up being a little bit too short. Being a little bit too short. I need to move this back one down a little bit more, maybe. And I'm trying to reuse the belt that came with it because I'm trying to be cheap. Reuse as much of the original parts as I can. I'm being cheap. I'm being conservative, I guess. A better term for it. It's hard to do this one-handed, though. Oh, Ryan, I'm excited for it. I got all the parts printed. I verified. I did actually verify this time. I pulled up the STL list, emptied my little bin of parts, and then as I went through the list, well, I loaded them all into Push Slicer, and then I deleted them as I found it in my pile, and then went ahead and at the very end established, well, I got everything. I ended up printing a few parts in black and in a color because I wasn't sure if I wanted it to be an accent piece or not. I'm hoping that this stays. So there's the belt on there now. It's not straight at all yet. So the back looks straight. Front looks like it's off by a little bit. Now I can show you guys what that looks like here. Okay, so here is the Ultra Magnus logo right in the front, what you get met with. And is these two M5 bolts here that are what hold that in there. And my God, is this camera crooked? Also, hope this stuff is in the way here still. So all I have to do is we can make sure that we get tension on here is get my little wrench. So the one thing I would like to change, I haven't talked to Aaron about it yet, is make these nuts right here captive, because right now they're not. So that's not really what I like. But what size is this? 3 mil. So I can just kind of put a wrench on here. 1, 2, 3 turns. And right here, 1, 2, 3 turns. Feel the belt. 1, 2, and 1, 2. And there we go. So that floats there, and it's a little bit tighter, I guess. Unless I'm pulling it loose, which could be. See, so that looks pretty good. Everything looks to be in line. Look down this. It does look to be in line. I should move this pulley back here up a little bit. I think I will. Yeah, this pulley in the back. I'm going to move it up just a little bit more. Want the belt riding a little more in the center of the pulley and not quite so much at the top of it. That's better now. That's better. Let me mute my phone. There we go. As you can see, I did put on the, which is the Enertech flex plate, and do have a mag pad on it. This one's double-sided PEI, So it is a little bit bigger because this was originally intended for the BLV, which is a 310 bed. This is a 300 bed, so I do have a little bit of overhang on the sides, but that's okay. Once it's centered on there, you really can't tell the difference, and it does hold on quite well. There's no really movement in that at all as I pull across it, so I'm not too worried about that coming off all there. Oh, Ryan, you want the display centered? No, I like it off to the side. But since you bring it up, maybe I will go ahead and move it. The other thing is I can't center it because the way this is here, this is our center point, which is not really center, it's off to the side. So your OCD really is going to get tore up because it can't. So I'm going to just back up here a little bit, and I'm going to go ahead and replace, or attempt to replace, the arms on this, because the ones I used apparently were old in the timeline. Somehow they got rolled back in the history when I downloaded them from the master file, and I'm going to go ahead and install these ones instead, because these ones also did not print perfectly, and of course that annoys me as well. So to do so, I need something to pop this up on so I can get underneath. But Aaron is working on redesigning this case a little bit to make it a little bit easier to put together. Yeah, this belt tensioner could easily be something different, but I like it. It's a little different. I do like not using what everyone else and their mother is using, because that gets really boring really quickly. And granted, we are using a bunch of bear parts. Lots of people making bears, but it still makes it easier, or still makes it funner to do a little different. Ah, this is easier. SD cables, there we go. And we're going to replace this one because I stripped that one out a little bit. So, the M3 bag. Put another display on the other side. If I had some type of like Raspberry Pi or something like that, that would be kind of cool. Have like a 3-inch display over there, 3.5-inch display. Yeah, so I felt really dumb when Aaron was like, oh, that's like the way old version. Somehow the timeline got, backed up. I was like, oh, stupid me. I should have knew that this was not the final version that he would put out. But alas, I didn't. So, not a big deal. I was going to go way shorter bolts this time now, too. Those are M3s. So this is the old one, solid and chunky, and this is the new one, chamfers and very lightweight, very easy. So we're going to go ahead and get out a couple M4 bolts for this. I think we're going to use 10 mils, or can I get away with 8s? Yeah, got to use 10s. So would like to use panhead pens. You're an 8. Why are you in the drawer with 10s? see if I can find 2 pan head 10 mil socket caps. Or just pan head ones. Cap. There's one. And dig out one more. That's a short one. Where'd the other one go? It's funny, now that I have all these sorted, it's kind of like, man, I can't find anything. Oh, here we go. Is this the one I wanted? No, where's the other one? There it is. There we go. I got 2 that I wanted now. There we go. Let me get 2 more M4 T-nuts. M4 T-nuts. Oh. Who recently came in? Darren, how you doing? One thing we were curious of is, can I get a socket cap or a ball head in there? I kind of can. It is pretty tight though. So it's fine though. But yeah, we threw around. We were talking last night about a bunch of different ideas for this, what to do. So I think Aaron's gonna take some of that advice and run with it. We'll see what he comes up with. So we're off by a little bit there. The only issue with this is the order of operations of the installing the LCD screens. You got to put the arms on, then you got to hold on this back plate and see if it matches where your holes are. So I'm a little bit too far now. All right, talk about making some through holes or doing a single arm instead. A little bit too far still. We get there. Now we can take these small M3s. We can sink these in to the 3D printed part. And these just tap right into the plastic. Nice tight hole there. Plus an LCD screen. Does not need to be built like a brick house. But it ain't going nowhere. Ryan, I have not thought of that, but that would be epic because Optimus Prime build will be coming up later, obviously, not yet, but Optimus Prime will be a lot of fun to build. here without any issue. Or what I can do is I can just get out the do it the old school way. Couple turns with the Allen wrench. Man, it's hard to get this at a good angle. Should I get a Prusa Mini? Augie, I don't know. I haven't built my clones yet. Jim has his, he likes it. He put a new hot end on it though. I'm gonna take this one out because I stripped it. Yeah, this definitely needs a bit of a redesign. Make it easier to get these things in and out. Now it is stuck. Let's get this out of here. Take out this corner for a quick second. There we go. All this over a stripped bolt. Okay, let's try that one more time. A little bit more precision and carefulness this time though. He put a mosquito clone on it. That's what Jim did, at least. So I know a lot of people complained about the original hot end. Okay, that's there now. Put the LCD cables back in now. And we can set that aside. That's all nice and tight now. Can move this filament out of the way. And flip this back up. Nice is this is surprisingly like lightweight of a printer. It's really not that heavy. Unlike you go try to pick up the BLV and you throw out your back. Like, that thing is a beast. So as I was showing you guys, I didn't put that back on. So I can show you guys now how the front looks. So here's how it is. So this is a silver aluminum, and I just went ahead and painted this. I have a duplicolor. It's a caliper. It's actually for calipers, so it's meant for high heat and high wear. So this is really not going to scratch or anything like that. This is on there pretty hard. Then I went ahead and put on these corner brackets. This is aesthetics. This is an M6 thread. I don't have M6 bolts, so this all I have to do is these are already threaded. I just have to put an M6 bolt in here, but for right now it's just for aesthetics. These two bolts come in up here, and it's blind joining, holding it together. This will also hold it on, and behind it, right under here, you can kind of see it right there. So that is another one of the corner brackets holding that on as well. And then this is just a 2020 end cap I found online. It's nice and tight because I actually had to go ahead and hammer that on here. So that is holding it. So these corners are super duper beefy, and I am keeping the stock feet on there because I want to. I could go ahead and put some type of plate on the bottom here if I really wanted to get rid of this, but I like the clearance and I need the clearance that these gives for the cable chain under here. This cable chain only works with the stock feet. If you're not using the stock feet, this does not work at all. So that's all of that. I can go ahead and turn this back sideways, I guess. And I'm going to go ahead and work on some more connections and cable management so you guys can see that. So I'll be working here in the control box. Let's see here, get a good angle. All right, it's crooked. About a little bit. There we go. Oh, Brandon, couldn't use all the screws. Yeah, me neither. The one top one is basically on top of the arm. I've already shown that to Aaron, so that will need to be adjusted in later versions. But for right now, it does work with 3 of the 4. Again, it's just an LCD screen. It's not moving. So here we have the universal SKR enclosure. And actually, let me see if I can find my little stool because it would make it easier than bending over. That little yellow stool up here. The little yellow stool. Oh, of course he did. All right, let me look real quick upstairs. Nope, so I'm gonna steal a kid chair. Curious. All right. So this will make my life a little bit easier. I can sit down here. There we go. Okay, so as we see here, we have our easy ABL connection, which we're going to put behind the bed here. And that's on the Z-Min for that probe. And we have our bed cables coming in right through here. I already have all of the wiring here ready to go. It just all needs to be cut down. I need to put ferrules on these, and they need to get put up into here. So I'll get that in a minute. We have our bed thermistor, which goes under all of this. Pull that out for now. I believe goes to the top connection, but let me look up I have the diagram over here on the computer somewhere. It goes to the bottom one. Goes down in here. The thermistor's in the way. There's that one. And the hot end thermistor. There we go. No sitting. Save my back a little bit. Okay, so we have those. Again, we're going to cut these down to size. So I'm going to end up taking these across, up, and then down and in. It'll be easier. I already have, again, the wire loom on here for all of the hot end cables coming in. So I'm actually going to take out that a little bit. Some more and get it in here. A little bit tighter to be in there. So now to get crimped in with the cover, crimps all that in. We have X already here, ready to go. As you can see, it's up there. I could make it shorter, but I like the length of it right now. I went ahead and made a small adapter cable that goes down to the X max, which is pinned out to be the filament sensor on the bare hot end. So that is running our IR filament sensor. I already have all the fans for the hot end installed. I also have the fan here for the box, which will end up sitting right over these drivers. That is hooked up to the E1. So E0 is our hot end. And then E1, we have that remapped to be the hot end fan. And what that means is that whenever the hot end goes above 50 degrees centigrade, those fans kick on. And that is the fan up on the side of the hot end that's cooling the heatsink there. And that is going to cool this. Some other controllers have, or some other boards have a controller fan, which you would plug this into. And all that does is whenever it detects that any of your stepper drivers are engaged and they are moving an axis, it energizes that fan so that when these are heating up, because obviously they're doing work, they will be actively cooled, which is really nice. I've only seen that in like Triangle Labs boards. And I like it, but I haven't really seen that in many other boards. It's not on here on the SKR. And really the MKSs don't have it either, excuse me. I went ahead and redid all of my pins. So I have the UART pins on all of the drivers because I'm running all of these in UART. And underneath, I pulled all the pins out because you don't need any jumpers underneath here. You just need the UART jumpers. And then here on X and Y, I have these jumpers on because X and Y are going to be sensorless homing. And then the next three are not. I'm also running X, Y, Z1 extruder and Z2. And by using 2 stepper drivers for Z, it costs an extra $5 because that's all it is to purchase another 2209. And by doing that, I can do things like the Z Pro or the Z Align. So it actually activates both of these at the same time. It probes, adjusts, goes to the other side, probes, adjusts, and does that back and forth 5 times to get that within a certain tolerance. And that way, you never have to worry about if your carriage gets skewed. You can just add, I believe it's G31 to the beginning of your print, and it will run the Z Align, then it'll do G29 to probe your bed, G28 to home, and then it will go ahead and start printing. So it does take a little bit extra time to do that work, but it is well worth it in my opinion, because then again, you never have to worry about your Z rods coming out of alignment, because they never will get out of alignment. All right, so we've already got some cables curled up in here. We need to get this one wrapped down there as well. We're gonna have to get this redone here. Let me pull these LCD cables out of the way, because LCD is going to be one of the last things. The LCD is all the way down here at the bottom. So we need to make sure we get all these other things done on here. So can we have that done, that done? This is for the main power. The only thing I do need to do is I need to provide power to the EasyABL, which I'm going to just grab off of the main power lead here. That should work out, because I don't want to run power all the way back to the power supply, so I'm going to just steal it from here. Should still work out okay for me. Let me measure out this real quick. So if I go up there to about here, snips. Then we're going to need to get, I need to get my ferrule connectors down, ferrule crimps, I guess. Proper terminology, Shane. There they are. And my ferrule crimper. We'll get those redone. I'm trying to make sure I keep an eye on chat, but if I'm missing something, please let me know. Ferrule's at, okay, here. So we need to go with, I don't want to go too much bigger than black. See if I can fit 2 of these in black. Otherwise I might need to go with gray instead. It's one size up. Yep, nope, not at all. I'm gonna have to go gray. Maybe even blue. Shoot. Definitely blue. Blue fits well. Then crimping this. Let's really hope that this fits in that connector, which we'll find out soon enough. If it doesn't, I can go bare wires, but I'd really rather not to. I mean, and I see why, Ryan, you were talking about using the external MOSFET. I have some here. I guess if this doesn't end up working, maybe I will throw an external MOSFET down in here if it'll fit. That is my only concern, is I do not know if I'm going to have enough space down there for the external MOSFET to fit. Because, yeah, this case is big, but it's not that big. And it definitely won't fit here. And the ones that I have are not tiny. They're not huge, but they're not tiny. Where? That's a gigantic one. I have, they're somewhere else in my pile here. Let's see if I can get this to work out for now, though. So, we go around all this stuff here. Behind, I think, all of this. Here. Go ahead. Ultra Magnus nameplate on the front. Well, Ryan, Ultra Magnus is on the power supply. I could print one to put on the top of the extrusion up top there. That'd be fun. I don't think that these are going to fit in the connectors here. Nope, those don't fit at all. So, can't go any smaller. They don't fit over the, I guess I could. It just would not be ideal. Let me try one other thing here and see if I can get it to work. Well, I mean, if I do that, Ryan, then I got to rerun all the cabling. And that really does not sound like fun to me. Because I have to redo the entire bed chain. If you thought I didn't like new stuff, I definitely don't like redoing work. I'll tell you that right now. Let me see if I can find one of those other MOSFETs. Thought I put it in this box here. Could be down in the other box though. What did I do with those? It's such an excellent question. Or they still might be sitting where they were before. Oh, nope, that's just all the SKR stuff. It's not in the 3D printing box. This box. Wi-Fi modules and stepper drivers. Is it in the electronics box? No, that's the LED driver. Okay, not in there. Got a few other places to look here. This out of the way, this out of the way, this out of the way, this. Cleaned. Where in the world did I put those at? Absolute worst. Like you spend all this time and you actually clean up. Oh, I think I put them in the MOSFET drawer. MOSFETs. Ah, here they are. So these are smaller ones. Yeah, I might be able to get them to fit. So these ones come with all the cabling and everything and all the crimps you need. But so it's this big. This is the one that I have here. And I don't think it will end up fitting amongst all this stuff. Put it in an angle, it might just fit in there. Dang it. All right, let's try my other thing I was going to try here, which is less optimal, but will allow me to use a smaller ferrule, which is what I need to use, a smaller ferrule. The blue one's just too doggone big. Fit these now. Great. All right, gray fits. Sweet. Flathead go. All right. So what I have to do the other one here real quick. I'm just doing the bed leads real quick, and I'm sitting because it's way easier. I can show you guys, and I can be out of the picture because otherwise my big head gets in the way. So I'm sitting down right here. Okay. Here, and I think I'm going to take. It's kind of in the way. We're going to take that out. I had kept these white cable organizers in, but they are proving to be much more of a hassle than they are worth because they're just in the way of the cabling. Because the cabling doesn't like fit nicely between them. Where are my needle nose pliers at? If you see them, shout out. There they are. Away. Okay. So now we can run black one up here. It into its slot. Come on. Loose all the way. Come on. This one does not want to go in as well. There we go. I wish this case just had a little more space here. Like, it is terribly hard to get my big old hands in there. Get all this out of the way. And put the hot end back in. Everything is nice and safe with ferrules. Everything's crimped properly. So that will help keep all of that there out of the way. This slack can go up in here. All that's right there. Awesome sauce. Get the bed cable finally secured in there. Okay, so we're looking good so far. Extra cables there. Again, we have the big old Easy ABL cable that I'm going to zip tie gently. Here in the box. Need to get a wireless board? Oh man, that would be amazing. Wireless stepper motors. The future, man, the future. Although when you say that, like the meme of the alien guy, just kind of like in my head, I just see that guy. Aliens, man. Aliens. It's a nice tight fit down in there. Again, we have our two cables here, which I am just 50-50 connecting in the LCD. I don't know which one will be which. I really want to try and close this up tonight and see if we can get everything to fit in nicely, as nice as possible, I guess, because it's not going to be 100% great. Make all this wire flat and get it under there. So, and then we just take our, oh, that's where that bolt went to. Still need to do easy ABL power, but this will just cover up all of my crimes like that. And you can't see any of that junk down there. All right, easy ABL power. Let's get that sorted real quick. Where's that power lead at? Don't know where it went. There it is. Half of my stream should be finding stuff with Shane. Oh, I took one of the kids' chairs. Thank you, though. So this needs to move down here so they can get the power cable in there. Like that. This goes up into here. And now I am going to close the bottom because I want all this to stay securely out of my way. Side. And that side. Yeah, you can't even tell anything is down there now, eh? Hey, Vikings here. What's up, dude? How's painting going? So, oh, there goes my shoot. Okay, so what I want to do here is bring this up and around. They're here. I do. You know what? I can just take the power straight off the board for that. I don't have to go there because there's a 24 volt connection right here. So I'm just going to go to that right there. So I just need to put a connector on this thing. So let's do that. That'll work out well. Oh, Viking, I'm doing great. I am so close to finishing this build. I am getting so excited for this. Super duper excited. crimpers. One. Two. All right, so now which way does that power go? I used to use rotten. I honestly grew up being taught to use my teeth for wire stripping. Blame the old man for that one. But for him, it was also, we used lineman pliers for everything. So this should be positives up top. I don't want to turn Wi-Fi off, turn the phone off. Okay, so if this goes in this way, means positive needs to be here. Negative needs to be here. Get in there and lock in. I want to say the first thing I was ever taught how to strip wires with was a razor blade. Razor blade and a thumb. Like that. The rest of this up here out of the way. You know what, folks? Just about there. Need another M3 here because that one fell out as well. I probably put it away when I was cleaning up. You know what? I think that looks pretty slick. I think that's it. I think. Trying to think here. Did we get everything? Tools away. I think that's it. Everything is secured in there. Oh, I don't think I showed you guys. So now that we have that done, I'm going to tilt it this way and then zoom in here a bit. Which way we got to go? This way here. So yeah, so you can see here, so the bed comes up through here, comes around the back. There's a couple zip tie mounts, and then dumps into the back of the base here. And we have the main power and Z cable comes along, goes under the motor, comes along here, and then right here it also picks up the Y motor cable and all of that is bungeed nice in here. Have the, you can see right here, the LCD cable comes along here, picks up this Z motor, which is zip tied to it, and then goes up into the bottom of our case. So I think for wiring, that might be it. I think we just built a printer. I think we did. That's not too shabby. I am kind of debating, though, moving this. Okay, you see how it's offset right here? But if I go the other way, it'll be offset the other way then to here. There's no way to center that because the mounts are not centered in there. And I did not add a bolt to that, which I need to do. I have one missing bolt on there. Get this T-nut in there. This. Shame that display won't work on the back. I don't even know. There's no firmware on this. I didn't do any firmware on it yet at all. But I mean, I think it looks good. I'm not terribly happy still with the X motor, and I would welcome any input on what to do with that. So if you look here, come on. So I tried zip tying this on, that didn't work. I'm wondering if I should like hot glue this up because I hate that falling down like that. And that's all that zip tie does. And this is the smallest cable wrap that I have. So I'm just wondering how I can make that look better. I could try shrink tubing that on there. That might make it look a little bit better. I'm just really, really not sure how I want to have that stay there. What do you guys think? I might put some along this as well, just because a little bit big, I feel. Thanks for subscribing, Ryan. Oh, Viking got a new one. Yeah, hot glue would probably look ugly. What do you think about a piece of pink shrink tubing on there? Curious. Snoozing under the table. Got some bigger stuff that I could cut down. Let me see if it would fit on there or not. I guess let's give it a shot. Don't know how well it's gonna stay on there. Might leave the zip tie on there maybe. This is big stuff though. This is real big. Could I zip tie the white connector? No, not to it. That really wouldn't work out. I had thought about maybe heat shrinking to the white connector. So trying to get it to sit like this. But I don't know if it will still go in if it's like this. But I could always just do the whole thing like this here. Kind of like that. That might work out. Oh, Jekyll, yeah, I do know what you're talking about. I don't have any of that, though. I had some, it's really big stuff, though. Like, it's real big with that glue in it. I don't have anything small enough for this, but let's give this heat shrink a try. I can always cut it off. I mean, it's never permanent, especially without glue. Let's see how this works out. So it hardens up a little bit, still a little hot. See what you mean there, Ryan. I could try that also. Yeah, see, that just comes right off. I guess we'll have to wait and see if it stays there or not. You know, I don't know if it will. Then I also could put a little bit of hot glue in there and then push it up onto it. It's called. Viking, you're getting more subscribers on my own channel than I get on my own channel. $300, congrats. All right, well, guess, I don't know, how far are we in? We're almost an hour and a half in. I think we're just going to do firmware tomorrow. I know a lot of people want to see this thing boot up. No one more than me. But I think we're going to save firmware for the Saturday night hangout. Again, I have the one from Brandon for what, because he built this first. So he was the alpha tester, we're calling it. I am the beta tester of all of these parts. Again, there's a few things we're kind of figuring that should be tweaked a smidge for Ryan's OCD, the Ultra Magnus logo, which, man, I gotta say, doesn't that look good? Look at that logo. Where are we at here? Look at that logo in front. I think that looks fantastic. Definitely that dual channel, dual color there. That logo looks great. Well, Ryan, so this time I can firmly blame Aaron for that placement because in the 3D CAD, it's in the center, but reality dictates something a little bit different. The other option is there is that other set of holes under there is over here. It's over that way more. So it would pull that even more over there. But like I said, if I move it's really hard to do that though. I can't really move the motor much over more. We'd figure something out a little bit differently here. But I'm not too concerned with it. It works. It's tensioned. Up here is tensioned. I really want to see this thing start moving and whatnot. But I think that's going to be tomorrow. Because we still need to heat up the hot end and get so we're put a 0.5 millimeter nozzle on here. We need to get that tightened down. So I still need to heat treat that and get it connected. I do have a silicone sock for it. I wish I had another blue one or a different color. That'd be cool. But I have this black one to go on there. And I still need to glue on the case badge that I made for the power supply. I wanted it to be a little more 3D looking. So here you can see we have Ultra Magnus. Let me switch the other camera here. There we go. So you can see we've got Ultra Magnus. That's dual color into the power supply mount. And this was made on the Palette 2S Pro. And then I'm going to add the case badge on there just like that. And I think that's going to look fantastic. This obviously still needs modified as well. We got to move this cutout to that side. But that's an easy print. That's an easy thing to fix. And that's only if you're going to be using the stock power supply. So the whole idea behind this was to try and reuse as much of the stock parts as possible. Now, granted, this is kind of going full ham on the modifications. You don't have to. You literally could keep everything the same on here and just replace the hot end X carriage and Z carriage. So basically this whole printed part right here to the bare for a different direct drive, because it was direct drive, and boom, you'd be 100% set. And yeah, you can reuse literally everything, all the metal parts up there. You even could, I think you can actually even reuse, because there's a remix of the bare for the Anet ends that were on here, the injection molded ones. So you can reuse all that stuff. Just put yourself a better direct drive hot end on there and go. Like, that's all you need to do. So this is a ton of aesthetic upgrade, because again, we're going with the whole Ultra Magnus. Red, white, and blue is his colors, and we wanted to really kind of embody that into this whole design. And with the coloring as well, it looks fantastic. It looks so good. Oh man, it looks so good. I am so happy about it. And I just hope that it all works now that we did it. So, oh yeah, again, what he was saying, yeah. So there's definitely a lot of different upgrades you could do to this. This is full ham. Well, not quite full ham, because again, I kept the stock power supply. Full ham would be to throw a Meanwell on here, which is what Brandon did. One of those, the thin, where's it at? Oh, it's under here. Can I get to it? Yeah. So to throw a thin Meanwell power supply on there, this would be kind of the full, definitely full ham, but I'm using this. This is actually a 12 volt, not 24 volt. This is for a different printer, different mod I'm working on. Just haven't gotten around to it yet. But I still need to do that one. And then this is mostly all stock parts, new hot end, new control board. You could still use the stock control board. You could use the stock mount for that board. You could use the stock power supply mount. Again, there's so many things that you could do, and to keep this upgrade just a little bit easier and not go so crazy with it on there. See, everything here looks Nice and tight. I actually saw, Aaron, when I was looking on Thingiverse for parts, I saw your remix, that the adapter plate for the back of this. I saw that. I need to send something to someone real quick here. I need to go to my YouTube channel. Copy link. Let me know what you think, period. All right, that is sent, and I can put my phone back on the charger because it's going to die. Oh my God, Ryan and Clipper. Ugh. Although Aaron is working with Clipper now, so he's kind of going over to the dark side with that. Man, I can't wait to get some prints going on this. This is not going to be the world's fastest printer. This is also not made for that, because as some people had said, there is a little bit of bowing and movement in these 8mm rods. Like, there's definitely some movement there. So we're not going to be going much past probably 70, maybe 80 millimeters a second. So we're not going to be going too crazy fast with this. Again, it's not a big deal, but I think that's probably as fast as we're going to be able to go with this machine. Also with that 0.5 millimeter nozzle, non-volcano. I had thought about going with the volcano because there is a remix for the Bear and volcano, but I decided not to for this one. I think we just wanted to keep it stock like this and whatnot. So, where are we at here? Yeah, if you really want to use stock control board, you can. It's just not great, you know? Yeah, 10 millimeter rods would be a decent upgrade to do. We would need to remix, I mean, because there's already remixes for the Bear ends for 10 mil. There's already a remix of the Bear extruder for 10 millimeters, which really is just reprinting 2 parts for that and the 2 new ends. But Aaron and I have I should say Aaron, because he's the one that designed the Y-rod mounts. These are only designed for 8 millimeter at the moment. 10 millimeter wouldn't be too much harder, but I think we would need to make them a little bit beefier because that 10 mil would get pretty close to where these are. And in this one, we have clearance for that. But I think on, was it Megatron? It's like real close on Megatron using the MK52 bed and those bearings. So I think it will, it'll be fine like that. I gotta resist the urge to put this sucker on because it is quite tempting. Let me say that. I'm gonna throw a couple zip ties on this cable in the back here. So if anybody has any questions, I guess for the next 5-10 minutes I'll hang out. If anybody has any questions on the build or anything like that, please ask away. And either myself or Brandon, again, Brandon has already built this machine. And I don't know if he's printed much with it yet, but I know he built it. And then Aaron, who is the main designer of this whole printer, is here as well. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask any of us. And I have not, I keep kind of forgetting, to be honest, and I need to stop that, but I'm going to add a download link for this printer on, I believe it's on Cults. This is Aaron's main design. So if you want to try this out yourself, you can go over to Cults and you can download this this model, or the model for this printer. And this is going to be between some parts from here and some parts from Megatron is what's going to make Optimus Prime eventually. Optimus Prime it's going to be in between Ultra Magnus and Megatron. I'm trying to nail down a few of the details for that build. because I don't quite know all what's going to go into it. Brandon did send me the Hermera, and I think I'm going to go ahead and build it on there. Or I just got in my other bear frame, and I'm kind of debating on putting the Hermera on that bear. But I think I might end up putting it on Optimus Prime. I think that'll be a better use for it. On there. Oh, it's on Thingiverse as well. Okay. $10 million would change geometry. Yeah, it would pull everything up higher. So we definitely would need to change the way that the Y motor mounts. The tensioner would have to be changed as well. So yeah, what's up? If it fits. Oh, okay. Are they in bed? Put the pink one here. You're so proud of yourself, aren't you? Yeah, I thought you were moving everything to Holtz, Aaron. I didn't know you had anything left over there. Well, Rotten, this is not completely from scratch because this was an Anet A8 Plus frame and components from that, so it's not quite scratch. Megatron was a completely scratch build. Again, I guess not really, because I took apart the G-Tech i3 aluminum, and or the 2020 i3 aluminum. I took that apart. What did they call that one? No, that was the G-Tech 2020 i3. That's what it was called. So I took that apart, and that's what became Megatron. And then I took the Anet A8 Plus apart, and that's what became Ultra Magnus. Optimus Prime is a completely scratch build. My bear was a completely scratch build. It's right back there. He actually printed a lot of the parts for this. The original Prusa and the bear printed most of the parts for this. I'm having an issue with the throat on Megatron, so I'm waiting for new throats to come in so I can replace that one. And the same thing on my, actually, I don't remember what the issue is on the MK3S clone is also having an issue. I forget what it is though. I powered it up last month. It didn't work. I was like, I'll work on it later. So, well, Rotten, I appreciate it, and I hope you at least subscribe to see more of these kind of builds. Yeah. So the bear is other parts, but the Z-top, Z-bottoms, the 2020 mounts, the 2040 mounts, the LCD screen, the Y rod mounts, the Y motor mount is all Aaron's design. The power supply is mostly my design, I think. I did the rough of it, and then Aaron refined it because he's way better at making things looks more transformery than I am. And this is the universal SKR case that I've used in other builds, and I'm using it in this one as well. But that is offline as well. So there's only really two sets of parts, the enclosure and this X carriage. That is really the only things that we took. And then Aaron modeled 98% of everything else, because my work on the power supply is pretty minimal compared to a lot of these other things. You should do it, Ryan. I mean, honestly, that's kind of what I've been doing lately, is giving 3D printers a new life in a more custom, fun way. This was a blast, man. I really think it was a blast. So I think this was it. I'm going to go ahead and call it a night there. So what I'll do is tomorrow night, so for the Saturday night 3D printing hangout, we're going to go ahead and throw some firmware on here and see if we can get it to, we'll set up the sensorless homing. We'll try and set our Z offset, get everything, make sure everything warms up properly, and make sure all the thermistors work again, because I don't know if any of this stuff works now that I've done this. Have not turned it on at all. I won't do it until tomorrow, but we'll throw, again, I want to pull up, I might work on later tonight. It's getting late though. I might just look through Brandon's firmware and compare it to what I made for Megatron and just see if there's any tweaks. I know the only tweak I need to make is the board type, because he's using SKR 1.4. I'm using a 1.3. And I just have to change that one line and printer and the platform to INI. But other than that, yeah, great. So I thank everybody here for hanging out. And for those who tossed some money my way, I appreciate it for the parts and whatnot. I'll definitely use that for some other builds. Again, if you guys want to check this out, I will go ahead and update and put a quick link down below. So if you want to download any of these parts, you can. Keep in mind, again, it's pretty done, but there's a few parts that I'm working with Aaron on that we do need to fix a little bit. But overall, it does obviously assemble as is. Just want to make a few changes to make it a little bit better, and definitely we'll get there. So thank you for tuning in. Remember, if you guys want to help out, help me build projects like this, consider becoming a patron. There's a link down below for that. Otherwise, you can help out is do some one-time donations, either through Super Chats or Streamlabs. There's also Buy Me a Coffee down there. There's also a bunch of affiliate links, so if you guys want to go ahead and update your bookmarks with those, I greatly appreciate it. All of that money that I make, it goes right into these printers, and I hope it creates good content for you guys to watch. So I thank you so much for hanging out. Happy printing. Tomorrow night, don't miss the firmware on this machine. We'll get